Kirk McNeil, in favor and speaking.
Madam Chair, members
Yes.
of the committee, my name is Kirk McNeil. I'm the Executive Director of NHCompassion.org, and I'm a resident of Derry. I'm going to make my testimony very brief.
Thank you.
I feel like I've sat in this chair for several years now and looked at some of your faces back and forth and done the same thing in the House of Representatives. I think that this is a good bill. I think it addresses many things. And for all the years that we've been working on this, and all the years that there have been delays, concerns, I encourage you to pass this bill. I encourage you to pass it with home cultivation. If for nothing else, in the memory of all those people who died over the years that we have been talking about this bill, so that no more people have to do that. And so that people can choose to cultivate their own medicine if they choose to do so. I believe that the gentleman who came up here not too long ago and spoke about budgeting and rules and exactly how we're going to handle this made an excellent case for home cultivation. Now, I don't know if you grow your own tomatoes in your backyard. Generally, I buy them in the store, but I have grown them in my backyard. I don't think that just because we have home cultivation means that everybody's going to be home cultivating. Just like not all of us grow all our own tomatoes, just like not all of us brew all our own beer, there are going to be plenty of people who go to dispensaries. The dispensary system set up in this bill is a very good, controlled system. If I could just speak to the topic of studies that has come up. I don't want to appear to be sarcastic, but over the last 4 years, I've heard from a lot of the same people that marijuana has no medical benefit whatsoever. As recently as 30 days ago, some of those same people were dramatically opposed to any type of medical marijuana, but now we want to do studies. Well, no one's going to stop you from doing your study, but for years you have stopped people from getting medical marijuana. So please, do your study, but get out of the way. That's all I have to say.
Questions of the committee? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rick Powell?
Rich Paul.
Rich Powell, okay. P-A-U-L?
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you for your patience.
Well, my name is Rich, and I'm back to speak about medical. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about the gruesome and painful deaths of our loved ones. And as painful as it may be for y'all to listen to it, it's even more painful for us to watch it. So if you ever get tired of hearing about these gruesome deaths, stop causing them. My girlfriend was diagnosed with cervical cancer in 2002 or 2001. She was sick with it for a year and a half. I was her primary caregiver. I was permitted to give her oxycodone. I was permitted to give her Dilaudid. These are very powerful, very dangerous drugs. But I wasn't permitted to give her medical marijuana. She got Marinol. Well, she's dead. So that didn't work out so well. So that is why I have taken it upon myself to, one way or the other, end the war on drugs. The idea behind the whole thing, and this goes beyond just the war on recreational drugs, this goes to the laws that attempt to tell us how we can treat our bodies. And the proper answer is to keep your laws off our bodies. Okay. One of the things that happened when Julie was dying is very emblematic of the war on drugs. My father is dean of pharmacy at the University of Michigan. And one of his colleagues, he's retired now, one of his colleagues suggested a drug called an anti-angiogenic, Okay, and what an anti-angiogenic does is it prevents the formation of new blood vessels in the body by inducing a copper deficiency. Your body, interestingly enough, needs copper for nothing but the creation of new blood vessels. This will cause a new tumor to fail to grow new blood vessels and die on its own. We applied for permission to take this drug. Permission? Why? It was Julie's body. But we applied for permission to take this drug, but the doctors refused to even fill out the paperwork because they said, well, it's a dangerous drug, so you're not allowed to take it, but the paperwork will take 3 months, and in 3 months, she'll be dead. So if she's going to be dead in 3 months, what is this drug going to do to her that's worse? Now, if I'm in fear for my life from another person, if this man drew a gun on me, I would be allowed to pull out a gun and kill him in self-defense. If someone had threatened my Julie when she was alive, I would have been able to pull out a gun and shoot him in order to defend her life. But I cannot smoke a joint to defend my life. And I could not sell her a joint to defend hers. There's something badly wrong with this law. My personal experience is I took Ritalin for 15 years. Again, very dangerous prescription drug put out by Big Pharma. I was left at the end of that period hopelessly addicted to Ritalin, unable to work without it. And one of the biggest things that has helped me recover from that has been smoking pot. I also suffer from PTSD from Julie's death. I also suffer from ADD. Marijuana is very helpful for both of those things. And contrary to what some people have said, marijuana does not cause cancer. It actually has been shown in many cases to shrink cancerous cells. And I just wanted to correct that. Now, the big issue here is it's always good to follow the money when you see a government policy which is insane. So who benefits from the war on drugs? Of course, organized crime benefits because, nobody's going to buy drugs from the cartel when they can buy them at Walgreens. But Big Pharma is a huge beneficiary. I mean, if you're depressed and you can't take medical marijuana, you have to take their antidepressants. Now, this is very important because antidepressants are in a strange class of drugs that are dangerous not only to the people who take them, but to the people around them, okay? People take antidepressants and shoot up schools. People take antidepressants and shoot up buildings.
Can I bring you back to the bill?
Okay. The bottom line is that a lot of people are taking very, very dangerous drugs because those very, very dangerous drugs are illegal. And they're taking it instead of a very, very safe drug, medical marijuana, and they're not taking that because it's illegal. It is not the right of the government to tell me what to do with my body. It is not the right of government to tell me how to live. Government exists, and this goes back to the Declaration of Independence.
I'm going to bring it back to the bill.
Well, I'm telling you why the bill is important. Okay. Anyway, the bottom line is there are a lot of very powerful interests that want to keep marijuana illegal. And the little people who just want to grow a little pot and smoke it for their medical needs are the people who are being victimized by the lack of this law. And for that reason, I encourage you to pass it.
Thank you very much. Questions of the committee? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you for all your patience and listening so carefully to everyone and many horrible, disturbing stories that none of which should have occurred ever. And it's a shame that they are, and they will continue to occur, these personal tragedies, until something is done. And hopefully you folks will do the right thing here. My name is Ian Freeman. I'm from Keene, and I support the concept behind this bill. If there's anything that can be done to have fewer people living in fear of taking their medicine, then that should be done. So if it were a question of do we just pass this today and not change it, I would say just pass it. But there are some important changes that I think could be made to make it better and applicable to more people who would benefit from it. I'm a long-time recreational cannabis user. As I explained to the earlier panel today, I'm also a successful business owner. I run my own business, and I've created it from the ground up, and I do a decent job at it. I don't feel that cannabis has in any way interfered in my business acumen or my ability to be sociable with others. And in the process of socializing with others in the cannabis community, I have met a number of medical marijuana users of this product and have heard their amazing stories that they've told to me personally. And I don't think that these folks have any reason to lie. I don't think that they're secret recreational users who just, have come up with a story to excuse themselves for using recreationally. I'm persuaded by the things that they've said, and many of which, similar stories you've heard today. So please take them to heart. But there are people who are going to be left out, and Darryl Perry mentioned earlier how his condition is not included in this bill. And I don't think that you need to have 26 pages to have a piece of legislation that simply allows a doctor to tell a patient, yes, I think marijuana will help your condition, you should try it. I don't think you need to have a government program. I don't think you need to have a bureaucracy or an increase or a budget or any of those things to just simply allow people, human beings, to make the choice to grow a plant or to consume a plant in the way that they choose. As was mentioned, there's smoking, there's vaporizing, there's ingesting via baked goods, for instance, so you don't have to smoke it in order to garner the benefits of it. Some people use marijuana, they self-medicate, they haven't had a doctor's recommendation. Some use it for getting to sleep at night, and those folks aren't covered in this bill either.
If you have a list of people you think should be included, do you want to share that with us? We'd be glad to take a look at it.
I think anyone who has a doctor's recommendation for whatever the reason should be able to use this. It's a plant, and no one should have to ask anyone's permission to grow a plant. They shouldn't have to ask anyone's permission to use a plant and to control their own destiny as far as their medical choices are concerned. And beyond that, no one, even if it's not a medical issue, who's an adult should be prevented from doing these things either. And I would really encourage you to take a closer look at this bill and make the changes to make it more inclusive to more people who would benefit from it, because I feel like it's very restrictive as it's currently written. But as I said, if it's a question of just passing it as written today, that's going to help some people, and the more people that we can help remove the burden of the fear of being arrested by these men who will just do whatever it is that they're told, I think it would be beneficial. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Questions of the committee? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
And Matt, you're the last person.